I'm Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
And we're going for a drive.
'17 Mercedes G550.
4x4 squared with a little bit of Brabus touch to it and no launch control.
That's pretty fast.
That pulls pretty hard for the size of this thing.
Horsepower and torque.
416 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque from a 4-liter twin-turbo V8.
So what is the 4x4 squared and how is it different than a regular G-Wagen and why are we driving a 2017?
Let's first explain that this is stock. You buy this from Mercedes like this. So Germany has made a monster truck.
But this one does have a couple Brabus appearance parts.
Yeah, such as the badge at the front and the badge at the back.
And we've got little lights at the bottom of the bumper as well. Besides that, that's how this truck comes.
Yeah, so this
truck, right?
Yeah, this is definitely a truck. This comes as a G500 in the rest of the world, but in North America it's called a G550, even though it has the same drivetrain as the rest of the world.
And this is a 2017 because they stopped making them.
Yeah, they only made them for, I believe, 2 years.
We were a little late to the journalism game, but now we've got our hands on one of them because I've been wanting to drive this so bad.
Yeah, especially in this amazing, ridiculous electric beam, $24,000 optional color.
I think this is the only color you can really get this in.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you can't get this in black.
So this is a G-Wagen that's been lifted from the factory, right?
Yeah, so it's actually based on the 6x6. Yes, Mercedes has made a 6x6 version of this. So they basically chop off one axle, and the craziest thing that they transferred over was dual shocks on every corner, as well as portal axles.
Okay, so the reason I know about portal axles is because Chris Fix's Hummer has them. So that means you get way more ground clearance because you don't have a differential sticking out of the bottom.
Yeah, or a drive shaft. Like, that's all way up.
So the ground clearance numbers for this is 18 inches.
Which is actually approximately double my Ford Raptor's ground clearance.
But this does not have inboard brakes. The brakes are in the wheel still.
Yeah, Chris Fix's Hummer H1 had them inboard.
Yeah, but that was like a whole nother level. But I think we're gonna compare this to that later.
We're gonna compare this to the H1 and my Ford Raptor, obviously. And those shocks do look amazing with the red springs on them, and you control them by pressing the Sport and Comfort button, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it really does. It softens it up and makes it so smooth.
Yeah, Sport is definitely way too stiff for this, but you essentially kind of need Sport to be able to turn this thing.
Yeah, if you're doing anything that's any curvy of a road like Cliche Corner, if you're in Comfort, it's gonna feel so weird.
It's downright scary. So definitely if you're gonna send it through Cliche Corner, which I'm about to do, Sport mode. And downshift into Cliche Corner for some reason, okay. It takes about a full turn of the wheel to be able to do anything, and it feels like it's gonna kind of tip over.
Yeah, there's lots of tip over warnings everywhere, so we're taking it. I guess it's probably as quick as anyone could.
Oh, for sure, yeah, as safe as anyone could. But it does make a huge difference. Like, Comfort is kind of scary to be driving through Cliche Corner. Sport is totally fine.
So when we drove the newer G550, that felt absolutely normal.
Oh yeah, totally normal.
But the steering on this, like you said, like the first bunch does absolutely nothing.
But it's still kind of heavy because it's still a G-Wagen, like an old school G-Wagen, which is awesome.
And this is very off-road capable. Unfortunately, we're not gonna off-road this because this is from a dealership.
Yeah, so shout out to Young Steele's Ford Lincoln for getting us this amazing car. Yeah, it's not a Ford or a Lincoln, but they do have some pretty crazy cars in stock, just like this one.
Check it out.
And I should mention that this is the lowest mileage 4x4 squared in Canada at the time right now, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it's in this amazing color.
Love it.
How many 4x4 squares have you actually seen on the road ever?
I think maybe one.
It was that one we saw on the DVP.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're always parked in front of dealerships.
And it was dark gray or black, but the guy had his whole family in there.
Yeah, and I also saw Drake's head sticking out of one.
I saw the picture of that.
Well, yeah, the picture. But let's talk power quickly. It does pull pretty hard for what this is. Like, I think this is faster than my Raptor. Not that that's like a really big baseline.
Even the Prowler's faster than your Raptor. I think this is as fast as a Prowler.
Potentially something around there. So anyways, we do have a 7-speed transmission. Shifts pretty smooth, but it's not as smooth as the newer ones.
Yeah, and we've got the nice paddles and everything to shift with.
We should probably mention the brakes on a vehicle this size. I'm gonna slam them for you.
That's
But wait.
that rocking.
Yeah, because of the dual shocks, it actually rocks more than my Raptor.
That's pretty funny.
I know. So before we get into the looks of this monster truck, I want to talk about the exhaust. It is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8. Sounds really beefy. And different than the regular G-Wagen, we actually have side exit exhaust on both sides.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you can even see the pipes through the wheel arches.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And it sounds really good. Let's have a listen. So let's talk about these drive modes quickly. There's only 3 of them really. So we have E, S, and M. So I believe it's efficient, sport, and manual. I've been driving in sport. I don't think efficient is really too efficient in something like this size.
Yeah, but I mean, some people may not need throttle response. Like, this is kind of a celebrity / Kardashian kind of car.
But speaking of throttle response, there is none. Like, you have to floor it to be able to get off the line at any point. Most cars, when you get off the brakes, it just kind of moves forward. This doesn't. And driving position wise, oh my God, king of the road. You can see over everything. But the weirdest feeling is, so I have my corner markers just like a regular G-Wagen. So in my head, I think it's that wide, but it's actually not because there's fenders beyond that.
So kind of just like a Prowler.
Kind of. And it's actually disorienting because I don't know how wide I actually am until I look in my side view mirrors.
I feel like this is a perfect mix of the Prowler and Raptor combined.
It kind of is.
Got a lot of gimmicks combined.
You guys are gonna hate us in the comments on that one, but it kind of is. And it's actually hilarious to just look at everybody else on the road. Like, everyone stares at this thing. Everyone has a smile. You can't drive this without a smile on your face, and you can't look at it without having a smile on your face.
So before I get into the driver's seat and talk about the looks, a lot of you guys are watching without subscribing. If you just hit subscribe, you probably won't get a notification anyways, and the sooner we get to 1 million, the sooner we'll stop asking you, because we just want to get to 7 digits.
Yeah, sick cars like this, you get at 7 digits.
Launch. That's really badass.
Yeah, it is.
For how fast that moves so much object.
But the best part of that sound was the shotgun door closing.
Yeah, it sounds so good, just like all the other G-Wagons.
Love it.
So looks-wise, the main thing is that it's lifted up.
Substantially lifted up, to the point that you can see the body-on-frameness in between.
It looks so ridiculous from a distance, I can't not laugh.
Exactly, like, you have to have a smile on your face. And because it's so high up in the air, it can actually wade through 1 meter of water. So the stats on this for off-roading are actually way better than the Hummer H1. Pretty much every departure, every angle is better than the Hummer H1.
Take that, Chris Fix.
And a Ford Raptor, obviously, but the Hummer H1 already destroys the Raptor.
I think Raptor's for Baja, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's not gonna do all that other, it's gonna do a different thing.
Yeah, but it does look sick next to my Raptor, and I felt very not manly next to it for the first time ever.
So this one does have factory authorized Brabus badges. They're not just like slapped on by some random dude.
Yeah, they're real.
And then other things that set this apart from the regular G-Wagen, we've got this cool carbon fiber thing up on the roof.
With 3 amber lights, just like my Ford Raptor. Actually, it has 5 amber lights. And then on the front end, it's actually a G63-ish bumper. Like, it's an AMG bumper at the front.
Yeah, and then we got like the cool lined grille and everything. We've got normal mesh grille in there as well. And then we also have like a skid plate, which hopefully no one ever uses.
Oh, dude, I would love to use this. I've seen pictures of this in the air.
I would only take this off-roading at a press event.
Oh, yeah.
Like under Mercedes supervision, being fully allowed to do it.
Yo, double shocks though, this thing can send.
And then I guess the most noticeable thing also with the height is the carbon fiber fender flares.
Yeah, so they are full carbon fiber and half of it is painted.
And it does look kind of silly, like it looks totally just like weird and lifted, but with everything else, I think the portal axles makes it look the most legit.
Yeah, because I mean, otherwise it just looks like it's tacked on. Like, if you did this to a stock G-Wagen, you would look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But this is totally stock and it's totally cool.
And then when you turn the wheels, you can see inside all the shocks and everything. And I really like that from the inside, you can see the disc brakes so well because of the portal axles. And
so what portal axles basically do is they add gears to be able to move the drive shaft and axles up.
And what do you think of these wheels?
Classic 5-spoke, but 4x4 squared badge on them.
Yeah, that's really cool. They
Super cool.
They just look, they match the car perfectly. And then if we move to the side view, we've got a strip that goes all the way across. Like, I guess you kind of need that for a truck like this.
Yeah, you kind of do. And then we have some running boards that you do need to use to get in and out of this thing because it's actually a bit difficult.
Yeah, getting in the front seat's like pretty okay. The back seat's more of a dance because it's such a narrow opening. And then if we move on to the back end, it's pretty much the most towering vehicle I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and because of North American regulations, there's some crazy stuff back there, like that gigantic metal bar.
I think that looks super cool.
It looks hilarious. Like, I would like to remove that if this was my vehicle.
Would you actually?
I would.
Because that's one of like the cool things that you only get with a 4x4 square. Did Drake remove it from his?
I don't even know if he owns those cars.
Whatever Drake did, that's what I would do.
All right.
Not that I idolize Drake or anything.
Sounds like it though.
I mean, he's got cool cars. If
does.
anybody knows Drake, tell him to give us a shout about car stuff.
Yeah.
I like no music.
I would talk music with him.
No, he doesn't want to talk
cars.
music.
No, cars.
Just cars.
All right. And the weirdest thing about the back end that I've been staring at that I couldn't figure out why this looks weird other than the fenders and all that crazy stuff back there, there's no spare tire. That's why this looks so
yeah,
weird.
You're right.
Yeah, it took me forever to figure that one out. Because if you actually had the spare tire thing back there, I think it would take up the entire window because the tires are so big.
And then another way to know that this is a 2017 and not the newer 2019 is because the reverse camera is up at the very top instead of at the bottom.
And looking at your reverse camera in the infotainment is actually hilarious because it's still in the same position as a regular G-Wagen, so everything looks tiny in it.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's like little Lego figurines and cars.
And then the roof of this G-Wagen 4x4 squared is black, which looks really nice if you can manage to see it from above, which you probably won't ever be able to.
And what happens when you open the sunroof?
Okay, there's no glass here. It's just openness. Check this out, which I think is the first time I've ever seen that in anything.
Yeah, I'm assuming they did it for rigidity because it's all metal.
So looks-wise, is this the coolest looking SUV?
Absolutely.
In this color, like, you can't deny it.
I have a new dream SUV. It's the 6x6 version of this. I would like the 6x6 Raptor, the Velociraptor, but I mean, this G-Wagon in highlighter yellow.
Isn't the 6x6 a pickup truck?
Yeah.
So then this is the SUV,
All
that's
right.
a pickup truck.
I guess you're right.
This is
my favorite SUV.
It kind of has to be.
Yeah, I mean, look at it.
And we already know Drake has the picture with one. You know who else got one?
No.
Logan Paul.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did a lot of content on it. It was like kind of cringy, but like he did a ton with his 4x4 square, which was pretty fun to watch. So now it's time to move into the interior, and if you look quickly, it's old school Mercedes in here like the SL63 we had, because this is before the 2019 update with the big screens. But first, let's check the visors.
All right, let's do this.
3, 2, 1.
Fail.
Super
truck
SUV pass?
Yeah, super SUV pass.
Okay, cup holder. We have a cup holder, but it's like a small net.
Yeah, it's literally a net attached to the side of this thing.
I think that's a fail, but then super SUV pass. Personally, the more gimmicks you can fit in this, the better for me.
I do agree with that.
But then we also have 2 temporary cup holders when you open up the glove box, I guess if you're just chilling.
Yeah, those are for parking only.
And then we should probably do the box test.
Box test! Shout out Young Steels Ford for getting us this truck monster thing. And shout out to our box test patrons. No, we're not going to maximize the box test space for this one.
So those back seats don't fold down, but they can like angle up and come all the way out, so we weren't going to mess with any of that.
Yeah, plus there's the Alcantara and everything. We don't want to tear it up in here.
So if we move up to our driver's seat, very, very comfortable.
Yeah, it's all fairly normal up here. The seats are very comfortable, but there's weird adjustments on the seats themselves for inflating every different part of the seat.
Yeah, if you've ever driven a Mercedes, you know the seat settings are on the door panel, so this kind of confused me, but it is nice to have all those settings.
And on the door panel beside the seat settings, we got a bunch of carbon fiber. We actually have a lot of carbon fiber in this interior. The entire center console is carbon fiber.
Yeah, and then they match most of the soft touch materials with quilted Alcantara and stuff.
I love the Alcantara or suede or whatever it is.
So then if we move on to our infotainment, my favorite part,
Tablet stuck to the top.
it's the older style like the SL63, but it does have satellite radio stations, doesn't rewind, does have Apple CarPlay, does have Android Auto, which is pretty cool considering 2017 feels ancient to me.
Yeah, and the funniest part is the silver G-Wagen in the infotainment does not look like what we're driving.
And then the gauges are also the old school Mercedes, just like the SL63. Pretty much watch that video if you need to learn about tech about this.
It's all the same gauge-wise.
So then our shifter, it's pretty normal,
It's super normal.
but it's not like the small ones of the time, you know, the little ones you have to like kind of grab
Yeah.
with like 2 fingers in the GTC or whatever.
I know, this is much better.
Then we've got an actual Ebrake, because I guess this is an off-road monster and they can't rely on just a little button.
And speaking of off-road monster, we do have low range mode, and then we can lock every differential, so the center, the rear, and the front independently, just like new G-Wagons and every G-Wagon ever.
So you've got tons of room up in the front, right?
Oh yeah, tons.
How about the back?
Zero room, at least for my legs.
Me, I fit perfectly fine at 5'8.5", behind 5'8.5". Even behind you, I'm all right.
To be honest, if someone picked me up in this, I wouldn't complain about legroom
No,
whatsoever.
you just deal.
Yeah, exactly. But getting out is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, because you don't want to, like, I guess, lean too much onto the carbon fiber fenders or break anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you pick up passengers in this, you have to tell them all, like, listen, don't lean on the carbon fiber fender when you get out.
Yeah, it might be fine, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
And if your friends do pick you up, you can probably have a cigarette in the car because there are ashtrays back there.
Yo, if anyone smoked in this, I would punch them in the face.
What if Drake smoked a cigar in his?
Oh, that's cool because he owns it, I guess.
And before we get to the price, driving this around for a while feels pretty normal.
Yeah, like totally normal after the first drive.
Yeah, but you do got to watch out with your fenders. I think that's the main takeaway.
Because of those corner markers, you think it's so narrow.
So realistically, there's no competition for this besides Chris Fix's H1 Hummer.
Pretty much, and kind of my Raptor, but not really because they're
portal
trucks
axles.
and yeah, I guess so.
But Mercedes also had another car with portal axles.
Yeah, okay, so let me get into this. Shout out Mercedes for being probably the craziest automotive manufacturer in the world. So they made an E400 wagon that was a 4x4 squared type thing with fender flares lifted up. Like they
And
make
portal axles.
Yeah, they make the craziest cars. Who else makes this? Like BMW doesn't make this, Audi doesn't make this, Chevy doesn't make this.
What did you call Mercedes?
It's the Texas manufacturer of the world. Like, it's so Texas of them to make this. It's got a V8. It's lifted up like as high as you want it. It's highlighter green for some reason.
Okay, so let's get into the price then.
Okay, so when this was new, it was approximately $290,000 to start.
Canadian.
$24,000 later for this highlighter yellow paint.
Worth it.
It was $318,500 when it was new. If you want to buy it, currently this one is for sale at Young Steele's Ford Lincoln for $275,888.
Canadian, and it's got pretty much no mileage on it.
So this is very good for depreciation for buying a Mercedes.
I can't afford this,
I can't either.
but I think this is goals SUV for me.
Same here.
So would you take this over a faster SUV, like say a Cayenne Turbo, or an Alfa Romeo Stelvio, or a Trackhawk?
Wouldn't even think twice because I would want a faster car than I want a faster SUV.
Exactly.
I want an SUV for being an SUV.
But what if you had a fast SUV, but the off-road E400 with portal axles? I think that might be even cooler.
Yeah, I mean, it is a wagon.
So let us know what you think of the G-Wagen 4x4 squared. Did you like this kind of throwback review? Are there more cool cars you want us to review from dealerships?
Let us know. Don't forget to subscribe. You don't have to hit the notification bell though.
Yeah, patreon.com/TheStraightPipes and Teespring for cool shirts.